Hey guys, Kalendros here. So we've got one more breakdown for today. Decided to do "Break the Silence" by Seventh Wonder. As this one, I think it will go a little quicker because I know the song so well. This is by far my favorite song from Seventh Wonder, and probably one of my favorite like pure prog songs. It's really a remarkable song. We'll get into a little bit of why as we get through the song here, but yeah, this one's something special, and this is a live version of it that I have not heard before, so it's a little bit of a reaction as well. And so I'll be making a couple of notes as we go along here, just some quick things to kind of pick out. And I'm not going to stop the video, but like if you see me not headbanging as much as normal, it's because I'm making some notes. This is not really a headbangy kind of song. It's a very complex song musically. It features some just unbelievably gorgeous vocals and some unbelievably gorgeous musical sections. But it's not like it's not a song really per se. There's a couple sections, but it's not real prominent in this song, and really I would say not prominent throughout most of Seventh Wonder's catalog. That's not really kind of the band that they are. They're more a well, we'll talk about it a little bit later. They certainly have a unique sound, I would say, in their particular space. So, but anyways, this is Prog Power 2014. This was they recorded this for a DVD though. Unfortunately, I was gonna show the DVD, but between Wednesday and today, the video was deleted. So all I have is the audio track of the live recording, unfortunately. So unfortunately, no video. I'm kind of bummed about that because, I really kind of wanted to see what they looked like, like how they worked together, especially when you have a song this intricate. How does the band communicate on stage with each other? Is always something that's really something really interesting to me because this song is very complex, and as you'll hear, there's some passages where it seems like it would be very, very difficult to play them live. So, all right, we'll get into the song. One second here.
I think about love and the things that I've done. A heart open wide, and I stabbed a knife. How could I feel the way that I felt? I'd swear it was love and was heaven sent. You set me free, never cared for me. I need a love, a touch from your hand. I need to feel you care. Then there he was, made me feel whole inside. This burden of guilt tears me up. You must believe I tried. easy boy can help. There's no way you can make it through. I will not be patronized by you, but my back may hurt, so okay. Bring it away. I don't wanna stray. Make sure you stay in front of me. Sheer desperation in her voice. for the help. Here's the dime. Now I feel go. Now I gotta run. Something calls me back again. Sheer desperation in my mind. Need to find out why. Have to go back again. I think there's someone at the door.
At the end there, he says, "I think there's someone at the door," because in the song at the very end, there's you hear a child's voice that says, "Can I come in?" That's at the very end of the song. So his made a little reference to that by saying, "I think there's someone at the door," which is kind of cool. So, I wonder if they did this whole album, because this is a concept album. Mercy Falls is a concept album. So I wonder if they did the Mercy Falls in its entirety, from front to back. Let's see here. Look for the. Let's see. Yes. Looks like they did the whole Mercy Falls record, front to back, and then did, a couple songs at the end. Interesting. Anyways, so that was Break the Silence, an unbelievable song. So we'll just kind of go into this one real quick. The song starts off with a really just incredible bass solo, and yeah, that is bass guitar. That is not actual guitar. A lot of people think it's acoustic, like an acoustic guitar intro. It's not. It is all bass. So there's got this great bass solo leading up into a kind of a very calm, melodic vocal delivery from Tommy. And Seventh Wonder is a unique band. I mentioned this earlier because they're definitely progressive with power metal elements for sure, but I would say they're nowhere near as metal as say Symphony X is. They're more of a I think it's wrong to say pop, but because it's not that at all, because if there's anything that's the antithesis of pop music, it's prog. But it's a less heavier progressive power metal mix than what you would see from like a Symphony X. It's definitely still metal, certainly, and then some songs are heavier than others. And this one has some heavier sections, but the real focus, I think, is on, there's a big focus on vocals, especially when you have a singer the caliber of Tommy. You want to certainly highlight that, but there's also a strong focus on melodies all throughout this, and I'll talk about it a little bit here because so like I mentioned, Tommy, their vocalist, is also the vocalist for Kamelot. He replaced the legendary Roy Khan as the singer for Kamelot, and he is such an incredible singer. And you really hear it even live here, how great his vocal ability is. And he, in this song in particular, he is on this album, I would say in particular, he's in full Broadway mode, man. He is using his whole register, like he has really fantastic lower register control, because like some of those low notes that he's doing have just incredible warmth. and resonance. And I will say, live on this is a little bit less impressive than on the record because there's a little bit of that warmth missing on the live. But he's hitting all the notes. It's not like the fact that he's off key or anything. There's just a subtle difference in tonal quality where it's just not as rich, as as impactful maybe as on the record. But that is the extent of my criticism for this, because this song was fucking fantastic live. So he's still giving a very remarkable, I think, and very powerful vocal delivery here. It's just that the song is on the studio record is just an incredible vocal showcase. The whole album really is a real showcase for his vocals, and I would say his vocals here are closer to his vocals on The Great Escape, because The Great Escape was an album where I felt they maybe backed off a little bit. Maybe it was intentional from some of the more like spacious vocal sections that were more had more of a Broadway feel. And I hate that word because it sounds like it's like a bad word when it's really not. But I don't know what better way to articulate that difference in the the fact that he uses his lower register more. There's more maybe a bigger, wider vibrato, and more like, I don't know. It's difficult to explain. But anyways, he's the last line on the verse, the first verse. There's there's a great held note, and pretty much nails that exactly as it is on the studio, like pretty much completely identical. I didn't really notice any difference at all. It's a big long held note with a little bit of distortion on top, so it sounds really cool. And then the full band comes in. This is about like a minute 30, and then this is the first of what really makes this song and this band special, because we have our first unison section here, which this is something I think Seventh Wonder is really known for, is their crazy unison sections. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, a good analogy to this is the song Dance of Eternity from Dream Theater. Has several sections where you have guitar, bass, keyboards, and in some instances even drums, all playing the exact same thing. In the inside of a solo section, not just like a rhythm. I'm talking about like a lead or a solo. And Seventh Wonder does this all the time, and it is incredibly difficult to do. I mean, they are like precision perfect here live. This is remarkable to hear, and that's why I would like to have seen the video, because I mean, I don't know how they communicate. I mean, there has to be the level of feel to be able to pull off that sort of precision is really difficult, especially. I'll use Metallica as a great example, because famously, when Metallica was going to play Frayed Ends of Sanity for the first time, Lars made a huge deal about making sure that James and Kirk were facing him when they started up the ride section before you go into the solo, right? It's a very difficult section, very famous section, and he made a big point of saying that he wanted everyone facing him so he could keep up, right? And I think it just illustrates how difficult it is, because that is a difficult section, but it's like a 4 compared to like the 10 that this is, and that's the first section. There's a tougher unison section coming up right before the solo, and another very difficult one going into the final verse. So the song is just loaded with crazy stuff, and this is the first of many that we'll see. And so this was, and what I really noticed a lot about this too is how prominent the bass is in the mix here. And I mean, I think the band and their crew know how important the bass is, not just on this song because it's huge in this song particularly, but in their overall sound. The bass is one of the things that is really prominent. I would say bass and vocals are the two prominent things about Seventh Wonder. And it's not that they don't have a great guitarist; they have a freaking phenomenal guitar player, but they're really known for the bass playing and for their incredible vocals. So the mix really reflects that. A plus to the sound guys, because this is great. The bass really drives the beat all throughout this song, especially here as we come out of this verse section here. The bass really is taking center stage. It's really the bass and Tommy's vocals for the bulk of the verse. And then there's a bridge section where the full band comes back in, and that's what leads up into the chorus. And the chorus is sort of typical Seventh Wonder, as I mentioned earlier. It's a very accessible, catchy, epic, massive chorus, and that's kind of one of the things that they're also known for. They're a very accessible, I would say, prog metal band, which is crazy considering how complicated their material is. But they are able to write these very catchy, melodic choruses, particularly, but just in general stuff. The song, even despite its catchiness and its accessibility, is complex all throughout the song. There is not an easy part of this song, and it's from there we transition into this lead motif that's sort of repeated throughout the song. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, that part is repeated multiple times throughout the song, and repeated actually in various ways, because it's repeated here in its normal way and it's repeated later in its normal way, but it's repeated also during the solo section, with a bass and like about an octave lower on the guitar. So it's interesting the way that they've modified that. It's a typical prog trick that you see used a lot, but this melody is one that really sticks with you. It's a fairly simple melody as these things go. I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy, but it's simple as far as the song goes. It's just a very accessible thing. And this transitions into a very long solo section. The last several minutes, but it's kicked off by this just drop-dead ridiculous unison section with both guitars and bass, and probably keyboards as well. And it's flawless. I mean, live, flawless. But, I mean, this is an incredibly complex section that picks up pace as it goes into the actual guitar solo at about the 5-minute mark. And then throughout that solo, the guitar solo lasts for about a minute and change. There's sections that weave in and out with a little bit of unison playing with the bass. And the one thing I'm not certain about is whether or not they have two guitar players. They might only have a guitar player and a keyboard player. It's interesting. I'm not 100% certain about that. I'd assume they had two guitar players, but it might actually be that it's just keyboard and guitar. Regardless, anyways, this is just ridiculous. This section, you probably saw me in the video. I was like, holy shit, because that part is crazy. The bass is kind of weaving in and out here, and at about 5 minutes and 50 seconds, the bass sort of becomes more prominent in the mix, and then the guitar eventually drops out entirely as we head into what is by far the best part of the song. At about the 6-minute mark, there is this unbelievable, just amazing, ridiculous bass. There's a little solo, but then it leads into this bass melody that is it's just gorgeous. It is so freaking good. It's one of my favorite bass parts of, I think, out of any song I've ever heard. It's so clean, and it's just ridiculous, and it stays in your mind too. And if you're watching, you probably noticed my eyes were closed during that section. It is one of those parts where there's other songs like from stuff from Scale to Summit too, where you know you just want to close your eyes and focus on the music because it's just so beautiful. That section, that bass line goes up to about the 6 minute and 45 second mark, and then the keyboard comes in, and then we go into a short keyboard solo that goes for like until about 7 minutes and 30, and then there's another ridiculously crazy unison section, which was the other part where you probably saw me go holy shit during the video. And again, totally flawless. I mean, these guys are just perfect live on the musical stuff. It is so freaking good. And then there's a breakdown section. As much as Seventh Wonder can do a breakdown section. And this is the part where you hear the crowd going, doing hey, hey. So it's the song really has it all. It's this song is just damn near flawless. There really is not much of anything to complain about this song. I don't feel that it's too long, even though it's an almost 10-minute long song. It's perfect. And then that breakdown section goes back into the verse. There's a final verse and then a chorus. And then it's interesting because this was the one part where I noticed almost a mistake. I don't know if it was necessarily a mistake, but a less than perfect vocal performance. There was the last note, the final note of the chorus. There's a bit of a strain in his voice, which, it's difficult because he hit the note, right? But like vocal coaches would probably pick up on this even faster than I would. But like there's a noticeable where he's pushing his voice, and that's the strain that I'm talking about. And it's only at that last note that I really noticed it, and I don't think there was any other point in the song where that was the case. I think it was just he was training a little bit to hit that last note, but that was the only real complaint through this incredible 9 minute and 45 second song, which is just a remarkable piece of music. Continues to be one of my favorite progressive metal songs. Highly, highly recommend this band. Especially if you are a fan of Kamelot. Really, highly, highly recommend if you are a fan of Kamelot. It's a little less power metal-y than Kamelot is, but it has that same accessibility. A lot of their songs are short. Don't be fooled by this one. This is a long song from them. And yes, they do have a song on The Great Escape that is called The Great Escape that's 30 minutes long. But that's unusual. Most of their songs are between 3 minutes and 7 minutes. So that is the bulk of their songs. They only have a handful that are 8 minutes plus. And it's they're really worth your time to check out. So fantastic band. This gets a 10 from me. Great live performance. I really wish I could have seen the video for it before it got pulled. So that's kind of a shame. But yeah, I mean, wow, what a fantastic song and what a fantastic performance by these guys. Yeah. So that's it for today. There'll be another review tomorrow for Pain of Salvation, Idioglassia. That's going to be an interesting breakdown, man, doing that song, because it's such an emotionally intense song. It will have a lot of it's going to have a lot of impact for me too. So it's going to be a little tough for me to get through probably. and musically it's a difficult song as well. So, and it's a longer song, not as long as this song, but it's a longer song. So it's going to be quite a challenge. So that one will be probably a longer video, probably in the 40-minute mark or somewhere in there. But yeah, that's awesome. And then probably on Sunday I'm going to do the Virgin Black song. And then if you're watching this now, you should have already seen my gear video is going up tonight as well. That should be up before this. So the gear video, it went long, but I told the story behind all of my instruments and guitars and stuff. So, it's, I don't know, gearheads like me, will probably find it interesting. And if you don't, then no one's forcing you to watch it. So that's it, guys. If you like it, hit the thumbs up, and if you find yourself thumbs upping a bunch of these videos, then hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys around. Stay metal.